Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Oh, we've started recording, haven't we? Well, if you are a fan of the movie The Lion King, I know you're going to remember this scene when Rafiki says to Simba, "Remember who you are." That's what you and I are going to remember today on this episode of the Bible for Busy People. I'm Erica, your host. We're about to see Daniel remember that he is God's kid, and we can know that too. The key to thriving, flourishing, succeeding is sticking very close to God. Trusting Him, leaning into Him when we're afraid or uncertain, believing He's got a plan even when He doesn't share the map, and praising Him when He comes through, and our God always comes through. It's a matter of time. That's what faithful Daniel and his friends learned. They were taken captive by the king of Babylon and pressed into his royal service, but they faithfully served the Lord their God no matter what. And today is a big no matter what. Now, we've moved on a few kings since we met Nebuchadnezzar in our first few episodes. Daniel actually served under a handful of kings during his time as a wise man in Babylon. Today, we'll find him serving under Darius the Mede. And without further ado, I invite you to join me in Daniel chapter 6, beginning in verse 1. Darius the Mede decided to divide the kingdom into 120 provinces, and he appointed a high officer to rule over each province. The king also chose Daniel and two others as administrators to supervise the high officers and protect the king's interests. Daniel soon proved himself more capable than all the other administrators and high officers. Because of Daniel's great ability, the king made plans to place him over the entire empire. I believe that when you serve God, you stand out. People take notice. They see when His hand of blessing is upon you. Note, doesn't mean it's easy, as we're about to find out. Verse 4 now. Then the other administrators and high officers began searching for some fault in the way Daniel was handling government affairs, but they couldn't find anything to criticize or condemn. He was faithful, always responsible, and completely trustworthy. So they concluded our only chance of finding grounds for accusing Daniel will be in connection with the rules of his religion. So the administrators and high officers went to the king and said, "Long live King Darius. We are all in agreement, we administrators, officials, high officers, advisors, and governors, that the king should make a law that will be strictly enforced. Give orders that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown into the den of lions. And now, your majesty, issue and sign this law so it cannot be changed, an official law of the Medes and Persians that cannot be revoked." So King Darius signed the law. And when that happened, these jealous officials thought that the king had signed Daniel's death warrant. Yes, this is a story of jealousy and revenge, but also of trust and faithfulness. Verse 10 now. But when Daniel learned that the law had been signed, he went home and knelt down as usual in his upstairs room with its windows open toward Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done, giving thanks to his God. Whoa! Let's pump the brakes here. So the law goes out. Anybody who prays to anybody, human or divine, except to King Darius, will be thrown into a den of lions. And Daniel, knowing that the law had been signed, not only prayed in secret, but opened the windows in his room upstairs like he had always done and prayed not once, but 3 times. Whoa, I have good chills just thinking about the courage God put in Daniel's heart because it could only have come from God. Okay, now, verse 11. Then the officials went together to Daniel's house and found him praying and asking for God's help. So they went straight to the king and reminded him about his law. Did you not sign a law that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown into the den of lions? Yes, the king replied. That decision stands. It is an official law of the Medes and Persians that cannot be revoked. Then they told the king, that man Daniel, one of your captives from Judah, is ignoring you and your law. He still prays to his God 3 times a day. Hearing this, the king was deeply troubled, and he tried to think of a way to save Daniel. He spent the rest of the day looking for a way to get Daniel out of this predicament. Skipping down to verse 16, so at last the king gave orders for Daniel to be arrested and thrown into the den of lions. The king said to him, may your God, whom you serve so faithfully, rescue you. A stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den. The king sealed the stone with his own royal seal and the seals of his nobles so that no one could rescue Daniel. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting. Amazing, right? He refused his usual entertainment and couldn't sleep at all that night. Very early the next morning, the king got up and hurried out to the lion's den. When he got there, he called out in anguish, Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God, whom you serve so faithfully, able to rescue you from the lions? Daniel answered, long live the king. My God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me, for I have been found innocent in his sight, and I have not wronged you, your majesty. The king was overjoyed and ordered that Daniel be lifted from the den. Not a scratch was found on him, for he had trusted in his God. Wow, what a story. Did you notice when Daniel was praying boldly in the window of his room for help? When you and I are in trouble, we thrive when we turn to God and ask for his help and expect it. The same God who shut the mouths of the lions is faithful to deliver you out of the circumstances you find yourself in. Remember who you are. You're God's kid. Until next time, you are loved. Thank you for listening to the Bible for Busy People. I really enjoy our time together studying God's Word, and I'd love to get to know you. If you ever want to connect, feel free to email me at erica@purposely.com. We're a growing community, and you are welcome here wherever you are in your faith walk. Maybe you're ready to say yes to Jesus and to accept his love and forgiveness. You'll be starting the best journey of your life, or maybe you need someone to pray for you. Check out our show notes for more encouragement. Behind every good thing, there are amazing people who are using their time and talents to make it happen. Thank you to the dream team that makes this podcast possible. Debbie, Donna, and Rebecca, y'all are not only rock star colleagues, but dear friends. I love y'all. The Bible for Busy People is one branch on a tree called Purposely, a podcast network designed to help you find and thrive in God's purpose for your life. If you've got a pulse, you've got a purpose, and you are loved.